All right. Hello and welcome to this live stream we're doing with Marco Schmidt from InBizWorks.com. He's got an amazing implementation of LifterLMS and BuddyBoss. I wanted to, Marco and I had a side conversation. I looked at what he built and I was super impressed and wanted to get him in front of the LifterLMS audience here, take everybody on a tour. BuddyBoss has built an incredible product and integrated it with LifterLMS, which we really appreciate. I think we've got Tom here in the audience from BuddyBoss. Thanks for coming, Tom. And Marco's going to take us on a tour. We're going to look at what he built, but I'm really excited and also just wanted to share about you, not just because it's a great technical implementation of LifterLMS, BuddyBoss, and some other tools, but he's working on a really awesome problem, which is helping people start businesses. And as I like to say, there's often like a wake of destruction behind like failed business plans. And, you know, sometimes I feel like super lucky that I made it to the 5-year mark in getting really high quality business training for the person who wants to start a business, especially if they don't come from a business background. What Marco's built is an incredible tool and community for doing that. So I just can't wait to get into it. Marco, thanks for coming on here. I appreciate it.
Hey, Chris, thanks so much for having me. And, you know, it's really true that one of the #1 reasons why a lot of businesses fail is that people don't have any business background. And so we really designed this product and this learning community to meet people where they are so that we can share the basics of what makes businesses work and in the context of helping a person build their own business. So it's not a class per se, so much as it's a working tool that help people start and grow their businesses. And you know, the technical foundation, I could have never done this without Lifter. LifterLMS is something that I've been working with for 3 years now, and really grown with the company as they've increased customer support and the product has just gotten better and there's been more features and functions. And now with BuddyBoss, we were able to add a really crucial component, which is the social learning component built out. So there's basically kind of like almost like a Facebook-like world that you can add to your products, which I've done here. And so it allows us to not only be a product to help individuals start and grow their businesses, but we're now approaching organizations like business accelerators and entrepreneurship programs and other people who are really tasked with helping groups of entrepreneurs start businesses so that there's a learning business community that we can offer. So maybe
That's
that's
awesome.
a transition place to go into it. What do you say?
Yeah, let's take a look at it. Take us on a tour. And when Marco showed this to me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so well thought out. He has this like journey map thing. And yeah, I mean, just take us to school. Like, what's going on here?
Okay, so here's the homepage for InBizWorks. And you know, just so you all know, we are still in beta right now. So we're really, we're showing this to people, and we're really about working with some early adopters so that we can take this and tweak it and make it even more useful. But the learning journey that Chris was talking about is based on this startup roadmap here, which is right on the homepage. And it shows the sort of sequential step-by-step journey that we lead people on to start and grow their businesses. And let me just take you right inside the product so you can see you know, how this all comes together. So once you've created an account as an individual, you would go into the dashboard. Now, this daily dashboard right now says Marco's daily dashboard because we personalize it for an individual. So this is for a demonstration company that I created, a demonstration business called Taos Yoga Retreats for 2020. That's the business name, and so everything will be referring to that. But as an individual creates an account, of course, this would all be personalized for them. And that's actually a pedagogical principle that we're using, which is, once again, meet the learner where they are. So what we're trying to do is use the technology to connect with an individual so that we're building something together. Where we are right now, as I said, is the dashboard. And the daily dashboard is thought of as the place where you're actually operating your business. So once you've worked your way through the startup roadmap, all these things get populated, including the business name, your website, your bank accounts, your project management, etc. And we've built into the interface these little buttons that automatically will take you right to, say, for example, this is your the Taos Yoga Studio. So this is the website for that business that's been created. Same with your bank account. So that we look at this as a way that as a person's learning, they're actually also having a working dashboard that they can be managing their business from. So that's under the Accounts tab. Under the Profile tab is the basic information about the business owner and things that you would reuse over and over, like a profile picture of the owner, federal tax ID number, all those other sort of nuts and bolts things that go along with managing your business. Financials. Once you've worked your way through the roadmap, one of the things we do is we make it easy for a person to kind of see, how you're going to earn money, what are your costs going to be, but we do it in a user-friendly way, and it's summarized here in your dashboard under your financials. Social media is where you keep all your social media accounts, and documents is going to be a place where you can keep everything at your fingertips, your articles of organization, your EIN documents, your operating agreement, everything that most small business people, including myself, have typically lost. And so to have one simple place to have them all concatenated is why we put together the document section. So that gives you sort of an overview of the dashboard, which we think of as home base for running your small business. Now here's the tool that we designed to help a person start a business, and we call it the Startup Roadmap, and it works two ways. It can be a sequential, step-by-step journey to starting a business, starting with your idea, identifying your customers, coming up with a business name, developing your brand, if an LLC is appropriate, walking you through the steps of creating an LLC, all those things. Or it's something that you can actually go into and use to accomplish something specific, like, say, for example, filing your LLC or setting up your operating agreement. So like I said, it can work step-by-step or random access. Let me show you what a startup or what a typical page looks like. Now, just so you understand, we've now gone into a Lifter course, okay? Although I decided that wasn't the nomenclature I wanted to use, and the great thing about Lifter is it allows you to go and change the names of these things. So, this is our startup roadmap, but in Lifter language, it's a course. And here we are on a lesson page. And you'll see a lot of customization that I've done to the Lifter UI, so that, say, for example, I've got this visual interface over here that people can use to navigate, or then we can make use of the wonderful outline version that Lifter gives you of being able to go, sort of lesson by lesson. So on a lesson page, every page has a video tutorial that's built in. Hey, I'm super excited you're here. And so each one of these kinds of provides a context for what it is that we're going to be exploring. In this particular page, it's what is your why? Why the hell are you starting a business in the first place? What is it that you want to accomplish beyond making money? In this case, what we do is we give people a number of tools to help them think about this. Some checkboxes, text, and these rely upon gravity forms. We heavily use gravity forms to collect content as a person is going through the roadmap to help create the dashboard content that I showed you, as well as some cool summary documents that I'm going to show you later on. And all of this is, once again, to help an inexperienced entrepreneur think like a smart business person. So starting from your values, believe it or not, is of tremendous value as you're moving through creating a business, because it lets you connect with other people who want to do something that's similar. And one of the things that we heavily promote is the concept that business is a team sport. So the more that you can connect with other people who are doing what you're doing and asking them questions about what worked for them and what didn't, the stronger your position is going to be as a startup person. So thinking through these things is one of the things that's important. And on every page, we have not only tutorial videos, we have resources that are, let's see, this is a pop-up builder that we're using to go and provide links to outside resources so that they're curated, they go along with every section and give more context. We have other types of tutorials that are built in that can show tools or can show other things that are important to know about. And here I want to show you about some other proprietary technology we licensed where you can actually, right alongside with text input and other types of inputs, we have a built-in video recorder. And this allows a person as they're going through to record videos of themselves talking about your business. Now, you might think, why the hell is that important? Because when you are starting a business, you're always pitching, you're always in sales. So we're giving people a chance to rehearse their business idea right here in the privacy of your own startup roadmap. And so I'm just going to show you how this works because it's super simple and easy. You just turn it on and then you play. And right here in the privacy of your own startup roadmap. And then if you like it, you can save it. Now, the cool thing about that is that then you can refer to it. You could share these videos with other people. It becomes another medium for you to explore your business. And that's exactly what we're trying to do during this whole part of the beginning part of the roadmap, which is to explore what this business might be that you're thinking about investing your hard-earned dough and time in. Trying to validate that business idea is one of the kindest things you can do when you're starting a business to find out if there's a real there. So we go into what is your why, what are your core values, what's your idea. We're really trying to get a person to think out, okay, so if you've got an idea, how does that exist in comparison to the rest of your world? So we have people go into thinking about their competitors and who are your colleagues and, how does it make money? And in the how does it make money section, what we're really trying to do is present some of these concepts in a non-threatening way. So we don't use any accounting terms. We don't throw any financial voodoo at you. We just talk about things like income and expenses. And, how are you going to earn money? And in this case, this is a hybrid business that sells products and services. And, we make it really simple that if you add a product, like let's say pens, and let's say, what are the costs to produce a pen? Let's say it costs $2. And we're going to sell those for $6. And let's say we want to sell 10 of those a week. Watch what happens here. We do all the math to spin out what those numbers are going to look like for you weekly, annualize them, and the same with a service-based business, so that a person gets a chance to see what their bottom line starts looking like right here in this early stage before you even spend a dollar. We find that thinking through these things up front helps a person get real and think about what their expenses are, fixed and startup costs, so that we can present them with a bottom line. And the bottom line that we present, we've done all the hard work of like taking all the information that they input and then annualizing it so that they see what their annual income is, their annual cost of goods sold. Oh, and we've got tooltips sprinkled copiously throughout so that we're always trying to provide additional support and all that good stuff. So that at the very end, you can tell, oh, wow, this is something that actually could make money. All right, I'm ready to go forward. And in fact, going forward, building in ways to sort of get people to rate where they're at and to think constructively about, is this really a good thing for me to do, is another thing we've built in here. So say, for example, right here, we're having them rate the strength of their market based on the other things that we've done. And so I'm going to change some of these numbers here so you can see that this is started out with, you've got a great idea, but if some of these numbers were smaller, then maybe this would be something that, we would say, hey, maybe you should pivot or think about something else, or maybe add another product line so you can have more income. In other words, this is all a way of saying, is there really a good business idea here? And so at the end of the first section, what we've really done is help the person either say, yeah, this is something good and I want to move forward on it, or maybe I need to go back to the drawing board. So that's the first section of the why part of the business, of the startup roadmap. And then the subsequent sections get you to think about customers and who they might be and who your avatar customer is going to be, thinking about your business name and how you're going to connect to people, checking with your Secretary of State to find out if that name is available. And then it becomes much more sort of nuts and bolts things. I just want to show you a couple more things that we do to help a person really make their business more real. If you've gotten this far and you've decided you want to, say, for example, file for an LLC, then what we've built in is, you put in your state, and then let's say, for example, let's go to Missouri. And then we give links to all of the Secretary of States in that state, so that then you are then kind of like pointed in the right direction to get going with filing your LLC. The same with operating agreements. Most states require an operating agreement as well as an LLC, and so at this point you've already input all this information. So what we do is we take your company purpose and the information you've already input as you've been going through the startup roadmap, and we generate an operating agreement for you that's personalized for your business. There's a number of documents that are built into InBizWorks, and for that we used a really nifty combination of technology with Gravity Forms and Gravity PDF. And those folks are really great to work with. They're based in Australia, and they did all the work for us in terms of grabbing content out of the Gravity Forms that are embedded in Lifter, and then created these great PDFs that you can download. But here you can see there's our business name and other information. This is not something that we would say, oh, that's all you need to do, but it gives you something that you could take to your lawyer, and it would save you a lot of time and money. Well, I could take you into all the other sections here, but I think it's kind of self-explanatory that what we're doing here is really getting you to think about all the things, all the bases that need to be covered to create a business, so that by the time you finally are earning that first dollar, you're not creating problems for yourself. You've actually got a sound foundation underneath you.
I love the mission and just to really help people start businesses, because I know myself as more of a subject matter expert stepping into business, not trained in it. I needed something like this. This would have saved me so much time, so much learning curve.
It took me a lot of time with my first business too.
Yeah, and I mean, if it doesn't feel like, if you're starting like in this audience, like a education company or a coaching business, it may not feel. You may just feel like you're following your passion, you're getting the right tools, but at some point, you got to go open bank accounts. You need an operating agreement. You need to be prepared when things don't work out, and you need to have, just real business stuff in place to kind of move forward and cap your risk by having your business kind of set up correctly and having all these scenarios thought through and being legal in your state and all this stuff is super important. Can you show us, Marco, a little bit of your approach to social learning here? Like what are some of the areas of BuddyBoss particularly that you brought in and use?
I'd love to. Let me just show you one last thing about the roadmap here, because what's really important once you've worked your way through a roadmap, okay, is to have a way to share this information with the rest of the world, right? And so there's a really great tool called the Business Model Canvas that is a one-page haiku of a business, and it's being used to get people funding. It's a way to share information with channel partners, with suppliers, even with customers. So as a person who's been working their way through this roadmap, in the background are little elves who manage, who actually make everything work for InBizWorks. They've been collecting all of your data, and it gets repositioned, okay, in this business, on this page. And then when you download the PDF, it actually creates on the fly a business model canvas for you. So this is
I
all of
love
the,
that. It's super helpful. It's so cool. Cause if you don't have one of these for your business, it'll show you where your gaps are for sure.
that's it exactly. And when you've got all these bases covered and somebody looks at it, they go, oh, there's something real here. And it's just one page, but this is a super powerful way to create what your thinking is about your business. So now what I want to do is answer your question, Chris, which is, okay, so how does the social component work here? So all along here, we've been talking about an individual entrepreneur's business idea. And in this case, it was for a business called Taos Yoga Retreats, created by somebody named Marco, okay? But with BuddyBoss, we were able to create this community aspect. So now what I want you to do is think about Marco's business, Taos Yoga Retreats, in a cohort of other entrepreneurs who are also creating businesses, okay? And here's a bunch of the members of this cohort. So with BuddyBoss, we're able to go and have other people's businesses or other people who are creating businesses part of this group. Now, unless we set it up, they can't see each other's roadmaps, but you can see that this is not happening in a vacuum, an individual entrepreneur. This places you in a business creation ecosystem. And the research shows that businesses that are started in an incubator stand an 84% better chance of surviving for 5 years than those that don't. It's a huge advantage to have access to other people that can act as mentors or other people who are going through the same or have already gone through the same challenges that you've gone through. So by providing forums and groups, you provide ways for people to drill down and be able to offer more social learning opportunities. So in this case, you can see we're using this to go and create public forum as well as private forums, as well as forums that are for specific types of entrepreneurs. Same thing with groups, to set up specialized learning places where individuals can work with each other or where they could be hosted by a particular mentor or source of information. Also, with a timeline, it gives a way for members to post things. Like say, for example, I was showing you that business plan canvas. Well, I could post that on my timeline and then have other people post comments or likes. So then it becomes kind of like a little bit like Instagram for business. The other thing that I wanted to show you was jobs. You know, it's going to be really important with the changes that COVID-19 is wrecking on, you know, our economy. Have a way within a community to post requests for resources as well as to look for expertise. So this is another plugin that we're using that allows you to actually put out to the community, oh, I'm looking for somebody, you know, and for there to be a way to, for people to connect with each other. So with BuddyBoss, one of the cool things here is you take this individual journey of starting a business and you create a learning community and you increase the chances of being able to get good information, connect with other people and resources. And where we're going with this product is once we get a little bit more solid footing is to also partner with sources of capital so that the other key component of getting business going, which is access to money, is going to have a way for people who have capital. And we're actually looking at starting a private investment group in InBizWorks, but also connecting with nonprofit lenders where they'll be able to go and see the progress of entrepreneurs as they're making their way through the startup roadmap, interacting with other people. So there's a friendly place for people to connect with each other about their businesses before they even make a loan application or before there's a lending event.
Wow, that's super cool. Well, you got a couple of questions coming from the audience.
Sure.
Leanne's wondering if you can show us the forums.
Sure. If what you're looking for, Leanne, is content in the forum, there isn't any. These are, like I said, this is a beta right now. So we're still in the concept stage. And The people who are using this right now are really, there's a couple of people who are using it to start businesses. But while we're, I mean, really, it's just been like the last 3 weeks that we've gone public with this. So today we met with an entrepreneurship group based in London. And this afternoon I'm meeting with an entrepreneurship group. Actually, it's a business incubator based in Santa Fe. We're looking for some early adopters who can take this on, and where we could partner with them and do what every piece of software needs to do, which is extensive user testing before you go live.
What's the if somebody's interested in getting on here, what's the best way for them to sign up for the next cohort?
For sure. So what we're doing right now is if we go back to the home page, there is a login, a startup. Let's see. Oh, I see. Give me 1 second to go and set this up incognito. Anyways, we're taking names and numbers and email addresses of people who'd like to join the next cohort, and you just click on the sign up button here. And
I don't know if your incognito window is coming through the screen share.
oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Zoom is a little funny. It's so close. It's like cell phone reception in a rural area. It works mostly.
Yeah. And they're getting taxed right now big time with usage. So
yeah. So let me just say that what you're seeing right now is a logged in user. When you go to our homepage at InBizWorks.com, there is a sign up button that appears here instead of information about me. And just click that sign up button and we'd be happy to take your email address. And when we open this up for our next cohort, we'll invite you in.
that's awesome. And a couple other questions. Somebody, Ariane had a question if you happen to remember the name of the video recorder, the thing that you were using so that people.
Yes, we worked very closely with them. It's called Pipe Video. And they're actually based, I think, in Hungary. The technology is a little bit raw. We had to do some custom programming to get the effects that you saw. But ping me, and I'd be happy to tell you more about it.
That's awesome. And Marco's in the LifterLMS Facebook group, I believe. Yes. That'd be a good place to track him down as well. And I had a question for you about, there's a lot going on here, but it's so well thought out and it has a clear mission. I just love it if you could share your approach to, implementing the website and the design and all the tools and everything. You've built like an incredible tool that achieves this like impact on a new entrepreneur and can, be this even all the way out to like helping people get jobs and funding and all this stuff. Like, how did you approach this project?
Well, that's a really good question, Chris, because when I first started this project, I started designing software.
Yeah.
And I would, just a little bit of background, I've designed tens of software applications, including when Maine was first rolling out its laptop program. I worked for the Maine Department of Education designing the teacher support system.
Okay.
And the thing of it is that what I learned on this project is that what I really needed to do was have hands-on experience dealing with the people who are going to be my eventual customers. And I realized I've designed software for Fortune 500 companies and large organizations and stuff like that. I'd never really worked day-to-day with entrepreneurs. So I took, excuse the expression, a shitty little day job, but I took a little day job with an organization that allowed me to work every day with entrepreneurs. And I got to say that when it comes to designing a piece of software or even a course, to spend time working away from the technology with the people who are going to use what you're designing in your head is invaluable, because they will alert you to all sorts of opportunities to provide them more value. You just can't think of all these things yourselves, and your customers will be so grateful when you take those ideas and build them in. So that was the most useful thing I did, which was to back off of the technology, spend time with customers, and then outline everything and storyboard and follow the classic sorts of ways that you go and create a complicated piece of software. I've also had some really good allies as I've been working with this. You know, some other people who are in the field of economic development and entrepreneurialism. So they've been sort of checking my ideas as I've been going through. And so designing things so that you have feedback loops is another really important way to make sure that at least that your early prototype has enough for people to get excited about.
That's awesome. A lot of wisdom in that, you know, getting out of the building, working with real people, not doing it alone, feedback loops. There's so much wise stuff in there. Ellen has a question about BuddyBoss. What do you love about it? LifterLMS, she's asking, LifterLMS has a social learning platform. You're using BuddyBoss. I like to say that the Lifter one is pretty lightweight. It's like pretty basic, and BuddyBoss is really the most advanced social networking tool for WordPress. What do you love about BuddyBoss? Why'd you choose BuddyBoss?
Okay, so like I said, I've been working with Lifter for a long time. And when I first started working with Lifter, it was pretty raw. I'm sure you won't mind me saying this, Chris.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
And so at times I get so frustrated that I actually considered LearnDash and built a part of Lifter in LearnDash because there was an early version of BuddyBoss that was working with LearnDash that you know, I knew that I wanted to have this community component built in. Well, I learned that LearnDash just doesn't offer a lot of the really important integrations that Lifter does right out of the box. For example, membership. Having membership built right into the product is huge. And then I actually started working with BuddyBoss and Lifter before there was even the formal implementation, because really the guys at BuddyBoss went back to the drawing board and they designed a product that, I mean, it just really builds out the whole social component of providing this kind of learning experience. I looked at other alternatives and even dabbled with working with a programmer to build some of this stuff on my own, and it just wasn't worth it. And then come December, when I got my hands on BuddyBoss, I just said, forget it. This is like fantastic. So I could tell you a lot more about what I love about BuddyBoss, but I'll tell you one other thing I really love, and that they are doing great tech support. I always get acknowledgement about my requests within 24 hours, and usually great responses. You know, it's just like fantastic tech support right out of the box. So huge kudos to their customer support team.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tom, Michael, and the team over at BuddyBoss have done a great job. Tom's even on this call right now, so that's awesome. I'm sure it's always great as a software developer to see somebody using your product and really making it sing. What if I may ask, do you like most about Lifter? You mentioned it being complete and including the memberships. What do you value most about LifterLMS?
Well, let's see. So yeah, the integrated nature of the product. I mean, these guys have really thought through how to go and put all of the different components together. In fact, more than I need. I mean, I've built a pretty complicated implementation, but I don't use all of the things that Lifter offers. And I just think it's cool that you're putting those out there, because that gives you a chance to find out what, you know, people are using and what they aren't. I would say that aside from the product itself, which is super cool, there's nothing better. You've created a culture of a company that is growing and expanding, and that's part of the excitement for me about being, you know, in a way, it's like we're a team. The fortunes of my business are also totally integrated with yours now, and I love the way that you guys are growing, and I see it in customer support. I see it in the way that the product changes that are constantly taking place. So, I mean, I couldn't be happier.
Well, I appreciate that. And what was that statistic you said about businesses who are like around other businesses and stuff? Could you say that statistic one more time about their success rate or whatever?
For sure. In
Yeah.
fact, let me give it context.
Yeah.
There's three main reasons why most businesses fail. And this has been proven statistically by the SBA, by the Kauffman Foundation. Hordes of organizations have basically said that most startup businesses fail, 50 to 80% of them by year 5. And they're for three basic reasons. Number one, because there's no market for the product or service that somebody's trying to create a business around. Number two, because the entrepreneur lacks business experience, doesn't know how to read a balance sheet, doesn't understand finances or customers or marketing or any of that stuff. And number three, lack of access to capital. Banks will not lend to most startups unless you're related. So that's a pretty gloomy, perspective, but there is one thing that consistently makes a huge difference in changing those numbers, and that is business incubation. A business incubator, participating in business incubation, and that means like in an entrepreneurship program, in an accelerator, even in a business boot camp, incubated businesses stand an 84% better chance of surviving to 5 years than businesses that don't. And the Maine Department of Economic Development actually did some research about, not Maine, excuse me, New Mexico. That's where I live, is in New Mexico. New Mexico Department of Economic Development are the ones who came up with these statistics. And it's kind of incredible because it's common sense. I mean, starting something on your own in isolation is tremendously more stressful than doing it in a group. And for those of you who are creating courseware, the other thing that you should know is that when people are going through in a cohort, in a group, it radically increases their chances of actually completing that class. So, we're social beings. Doing things together is something that makes us happier. And, if we're happier, then we are willing to go the distance.
That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you sharing, taking us on a tour today. So much wisdom in that, just about business in general. And I love that you've built a platform to support the entrepreneur, especially the first timer who hasn't been through it before. There's a real need for this in the world, and I'm just excited to see it. I want to thank everybody who's in our live audience. Appreciate you coming. I see some people are telling me they've messaged you, they want to connect and discuss more and stuff. So I think this really strikes a nerve. If you are watching this, as long as Zoom behaves correctly, we've had some gremlins earlier, but hopefully the recording will process and come down. And I'm going to put this on YouTube, on the LifterLMS YouTube, so you'll be able to watch it again. But I'm going to close out this meeting, which will end the call. But Marco, I want to thank you for coming. Could you tell people one more time, if they're interested in getting involved in the next cohort, what should they do?
Yeah, thank you so much, Chris. It's really been a pleasure sharing this information and sharing the journey with you guys. Once again, the product is called InBizWorks, and it's located at InBizWorks.com. And there's a number of different ways that you can send messages to us. But if you're interested in joining the next cohort, either DM me or on the InBizWorks.com homepage, there's a sign up button, a blue button that's up in the upper right-hand corner. Just click on that and leave us a message, and we will be sure to include you in the next cohort.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Marco. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and I hope everybody has a great rest of your day.
Yeah, be safe. Take care.